There's a powerful creative force inside of you that's raw, it's untamed, and it's trying to flow through you. But if you're like 99% of men, there's something keeping it locked away. There's some struggle, there's some wound, there's something that seems like it's the barrier between you accessing that deep potential of your creative fire. But what if your struggles, the tension, and the deep wounding were not barriers to that potential, but in fact, they are the doorways and the very seeds of you discovering your potential? True mastery doesn't come from force. As much as we might look around in the world and see examples of people who have forced their will to get what they want, I want to reframe creative mastery as your level of deep embodiment that comes from integrating your core wounds, embracing challenges, and attuning to the fact that your nervous system is such a gift to the world. So in this video, I just want to outline what it means to be a powerful creative masculine in this lifetime. Now, I'm going to be speaking primarily to the masculine, but this applies also for the masculine inside of women and the feminine as well. So I want to talk about the importance of integrating your shadows and wounds, talk about what it means to embrace deep challenge as a man, and how to realize your nervous system is a gift to the world. So let's just dive right in, but actually scratch that. Before we do that, my name is Kev, and I'm an award-winning furniture designer, and now I'm really just passionate about helping ambitious creatives design and build businesses that feel aligned, that they love, and to do so from the inside out. And this video is going to be an exploration of what I learn about creative embodiment, as well as the work that I do in regards to cultivating my own masculine. So this is a bit different of a flavor today. I hope y'all like it. So let's talk about the integration of your shadows and your wounds. We could even call this a sort of alchemy, right? I firmly believe that your wound becomes your greatest gift. The problem is our shadows keep us from accessing our wounds. So truly, a man who has not faced his shadow is only going to create from the surface, let's say the neck up. But a man who has truly integrated his shadows and discovered his wounds and embraced them really creates from a deeper depth and a presence and a source that is not accessed by 99% of people out there in the world. So unresolved wounds keep men stuck in cycles of overthinking, perfectionism, self-doubt, and all sorts of sensations of stagnancy, right? When we have this unresolved sort of wounding beneath the surface, we will be limited and we will not know why. So the power and the art of transmutation, or rather transfiguration, how we can turn our wounds, our pain, and our shadows into art for the world. How to make art from the messiness of our own souls and lives and hearts is one of the greatest skills that you can cultivate as the creative masculine. Because if we want to just break down what it means to be masculine, in my eyes, and what resonates with me from those I've learned from, is to be in the masculine is to be consciousness. It's to be rooted as a master of time and space, to be the structure and the ground of any moment of reality. So you could say that your capacity to be clear and grounded and regulated amidst chaos is a lot of your masculine value, right? That's one example of many. So I want to make the distinction about I mentioned earlier about force, because we all have this creative force inside of us, but we cannot force this force out into the world, if that makes sense. The trap that I see most men fall in is they try to force their will. They try to force their way onto life. And to me, that's a pretty futile exploration, because you're not utilizing life as an ally at that point. So your true creative power isn't about this forcefulness or about the talent, the skills that you've cultivated. It's really about the depth that you can tune into your own force and offer that generously to the world. But that takes a tremendous amount of diving into what your sort of neuroses and your core wounding have been for you. You know, if that's the fear of failure, rejection, of not being good enough, if that ventures into territory that's really deep and sticky, like your stories around money and abundance or sex, chances are your wounding touches those deep places. And although this isn't the right time and place to really deep dive into those things, realizing the wounds and the shadows that are keeping you from going to those places and attuning to them, becoming aware and feeling and embracing them, is necessary work for any man to become all that he can be, right? So an invitation that I want to offer you is, what is a part of you, what's a part inside the depths of your wild heart that you have been running from? This very place could be your greatest creative gift to the world. I can attest that I've ran so much away from what I would literally just call my own masculine power. I've been running and hiding from my ability to just really claim what I want and to own it and to move towards it boldly, because I was so much in my feminine and flowiness most of my life. My true masculine power that was just connected to fire and could get so focused and determined, I hid from that because it scared me, because I thought that I would hurt some people from that place, the ones that I would love, family, lover, all of those things. But now, if I can embrace that depth in my heart and discover that power, I've found that that is a place that I can use to create from, that I can use to create art for the world, which is going to be received and so impactful, because how you create is how your work and your art is experienced. So now I want to speak to why challenge is so necessary for the creative masculine, and how meeting this edge and learning to stretch it really is one of the greatest sort of practices that you could embark on. So really, the masculine expands through challenge, but more in particular, we really grow by leaning into resistance. What am I resisting? And chances are there's fear there. I am resisting change. I am resisting stepping up to be seen that much more. I am resisting taking on more responsibility. And whatever your reasoning is, only you know what's right for you. But I encourage you to start stretching that edge, because there's no growth without knowing where that edge is and knowing how to just start to dance with it. Not in a way that blows your nervous system out, we'll get to that in a moment, but in a way that honors your current capacity, but wants to ask the question, can I stretch myself just 1% more? Can I hold the pose for just 10 seconds longer? And it takes, again, depth. It takes a willingness, it takes a presence and attunement to yourself to be able to willingly meet that challenge. And I think this challenge is incredibly magnetic, because the world really incentivizes comfort. You know, the world really incentivizes and rewards safety. But true creative power and expression and innovation really is cultivated in your capacity to sit with discomfort. I can speak to that so strongly as a man that the more I learn to just sit with my own pain and discomfort, not to mention how that is such a great doorway into your wounds and your shadows so that you can make them more whole, but that's really where you learn to become wider. You learn to hold more and receive more, which means life will move more through you, which also means you'll be challenged more, but it means that how you learn and expand will also grow as well. So try to parcel out your sort of performative hustle, is what I call it, like this place of you that wants to accept the challenge and just wants to hustle through it. Separate that from just what I call the embodied challenge. So the kind of hustle is actually, in my eyes, rooted in insecurity. But the sort of acceptance of the embodied challenge is more about expansion. It doesn't have something to prove necessarily. The hustle is insecure, so it wants to prove itself. Your ego wants to prove itself through the hustle. But to just confidently accept the challenge and be willing to go wherever it takes you, it's a little bit more expansive. And I know it's nuanced, but so much of this work and how it relates to being an entrepreneur is nuanced, right? That's where the juice is. So you can translate this into your business by reframing your creative resistances. So the places that you avoid in your creative expression or in your business, whether that be literally things you want to do or need to do, or areas that you want to step into that you think are out of your sort of sphere of capabilities, look to them not as the things to avoid, right? But as a sense of living proof that you know where your edge is. If I'm aware of what I'm resisting, my current income ceiling, or expanding into this category of being able to serve other people, if you are aware of what you're resisting, you're aware of your edge. And when you are aware of your edge, there's challenge. And then you can accept the challenge, and you can use the challenge not as a validation of your insecurity and how you need to prove yourself to be more secure, but as a challenge that is helping you become all that you can be, more of who you already know that you are, that is time to let more be seen by the world. So as much as the world around you might encourage the escape, let's say, of discomfort, I challenge you to sit with the discomfort in your life. The discomfort of not being where you want to be in your business. The discomfort of feeling like you're behind in life. It's a huge thing. I have a men's circle with some fellow entrepreneurs in my town, and we're all about 10 years apart. I'm the youngest person, and every single one of us express that we all feel like we're behind. When categorically, they're all killing it. I'm on my way to killing it. But they're all like killing it in their businesses and stuff, and yet each and every single one of them feels like they're behind, and each one looks up to the person that's older. It's so funny how that works, right? But I think it's a great doorway to sit with the discomfort that I feel for not being where I want to be. And there's shame there, right? I like to say, like, there's a shame of the should-be success. I should be more successful than I am. Look at all this work I've done. I should have X, Y, and Z and be there and have all of the things that I want. But maybe you don't. And that's okay, because you're right where you need to be. And right where you need to be requires you fully accepting that, which is sitting with the depths of your discomfort, which is edgy. But that's where expansion happens, because we can embrace those feelings that are stuck in there. Again, to come back to doorways to discovering your shadows, the needy little child, or the sort of angsty teen that just wants to be loved, whatever it is, we can find those shadows and then discover our core wounds and let them reveal what they have to teach us, what's asking to be expressed from those depths. Again, To reiterate, the deeper we go inside of our own hearts and souls and selves, the more powerful our creative expression becomes. So let's take a slight pivot and kind of get out of that and into the nervous system. And why the nervous system, in particular, why your masculine nervous system is such a gift to the world. Because being able to expand your capacity to hold more means that you can create more, you can give more, you have that much more generosity to offer the world. So the nervous system for me truly was the missing link between my intellect and my deeply rich spiritual ritual connection. I've very much been in the woo, and I'm a very strong philosophical intellectual. But I didn't know how to access my body, and the nervous system is what bridged those two places through my body. Because the body is the bridge between the sort of mind and the heart and the spirit, you know? It's the capsule that lets them all intermingle in this beautiful lifetime, in this dance, right? So your nervous system really is the foundation for your power and your creativity. But I like to say, if you can't hold it, you can't create it, right? I.e., most people will say that they want something. Let's say I want a $50,000 a month business. If I literally can't hold that in my system, if someone gave me $50,000 right now, I probably wouldn't be able to hold it in my system. So there's no way I can create it. So I have to take one edge at a time and stretch it one step at a time, right? So the problem is most people shoot either so big that they blow themselves out because it's just unrealistic, or we're just kind of stuck small and kind of stuck in constant states of dysregulation because that's just what culture creates, right? Everyone's walking around burnt out and dysregulated, man, and then we wonder why the world is the way that it is. I won't dive too much into that, but the best shot you have at cultivating the life that you want to live and the world you want to be a part of is by recognizing that your nervous system is a gift. And is it received as such? If you are inconsistent, if you feel stagnant, if you feel burnt out and dysregulated, is that a gift that you're beaming out into the world, right? And again, we can't be regulated all the time. That's not the objective. But there's a difference between expressing your creativity because you feel like you have to, and that like there's this pressure to just go and get it out there, and a regulated, confident expression that is just generously giving your creative gifts. One has an energetic signature and sort of a nervous system code of it's frazzled, right? It's like, ah! And so it's not going to be received probably pretty well or abundantly, right? But if you're coming from a place of regulation and you are expressing yourself for the joy of being alive and out of the generosity of your heart and out of accepting the challenge of becoming all that you can be, that has a totally different signature and a nervous system code within it, which is going to be felt by the nervous systems around you in the same light in which it was created. That's the fucking wild thing about co-regulation and the nervous system is you are always evoking, excuse me, just burped. You are always evoking your environment and the people around you through the state of your nervous system. So the state of your nervous system and how you create is the first touch point of what is received on the other end by another nervous system. It's all synced up, kind of like mycelium in the forest floor, right? So to deepen your creative capacity means you also have to deepen your nervous system capacity. And there are lots of somatic tools for doing this, right? Breath work, of course, is just the number one thing. Your nervous system responds most immediately to the state of your breath. And most people are breathing shallow, often through their mouth, most of the day. Again, not wrong, just maybe not the best, right? Categorically, it's actually not very good to be breathing shallow all day long, you know? So breath work and just creating pockets of time and space to where you can really attune to your breath, consciously breathe, and realize that just through your breath, you can transmit a feeling of safety and peace to the world around you, or chaos and clutter, you know? So keep that in mind. And again, there's, you know, grounding practices of spending time outside, really getting support with people that you love, all these things. I mean, I talk about this all the time. It's so simple, but it's deep, you know? And then techniques to expand your nervous system that are like, one of which is to be able to hold the pose in a situation that is uncomfortable, right? In discomfort, when discomfort arises, when a trigger comes, to be able to be cognitively aware of what's happening, to observe what's going on in your system, and to hold the pose just that much longer before you start reacting, or before you quit, or before you blow out. You can get tons of experiments that aren't just nervous system based, but everything that we've talked about so far in the Embodied Creator Toolkit training. I'll put the link in the description below for y'all. That's going to be your comprehensive series of experiments, because it's one thing to share information, but it's one thing to be given practical practices and experiments that you can start doing today, you know? So all this to say why your nervous system is such a gift to the world is it's constantly evoking and being felt by everyone around you. So you could say that your presence is truly your power, your deepest creative gift. So the more presence you can hold and show up with, the more capacity you have to create, and the more capacity you actually have to impact the world around you, which is what creates a really fucking successful, beautiful business, right? The more that you can impact the world around you through your creative gifts, the more money you're gonna get paid, the more opportunities, the more magnetic you become. So yeah, your nervous system is such a gift to the world. So I kind of want to tie out by just a brief call to action, you know? So my journey of deepening and becoming an embodied masculine leader has been slow and awkward and painful. But I see that the more that I lean into accepting that challenge of becoming the kind of creative masculine, an embodied creative masculine, the more that my entire life shifts, evolves, and sort of levels up, right, and expands. So I had to learn this kind of shift I observed this shift from me overthinking, consuming, and needing to prove something to the world, to realize I'm just here to create. I'm here to deepen my connection to myself, to express myself fully with deep presence, and to embody the things that I love. And the more I went from that, started to embody that state of being, the more that my life expanded. So I realized how easy it was for me to play small and just overthink and stay stuck and just consume a ton of information without actually getting in my body, deepening my presence, and giving. So I want to challenge you, where have you been playing small? And where can you stretch that edge to just be seen a little bit more, take on a little bit more responsibility, and play just a little bit bigger? Because what are you truly afraid of? What are you afraid of bringing to the world? The world craves your deepest creative gifts. And if you aren't going to be the one to step up and bring them into the world, life's gonna go to the next person, and then you're gonna be like, fuck, I want to be that person. And life is like, I want you to be that person too. But in fact, I want you to be you. And will you accept this challenge that is going to scare you, but is helping you become more embodied so that you can give more of your gifts to the world? So lean into where your edges are, wherever they are. If you're at the ground level, or if you're 20 years deep into your practice of what it means to really be creative, what it means to be an embodied masculine, what it means to be a leader. The world doesn't need more men just playing it safe. The world craves men willing to create from our deep presence, our deep truth, to integrate our shadows and wounds so that we can offer our nervous system and our creativity as a gift to the world, you know? But that choice is yours. But I really, really invite you to consider what life would be like if you accepted the challenge of becoming the embodied creative leader that you know you can become. So that's what I have for you today. A bit different of a flavor of a video, but I appreciate y'all so much. If you really want the step-by-step training to become a badass creative leader, the Embodied Creator Toolkit is exactly the resource you need. The link is in the description below. But in the meantime, drop me a comment. See what resonated, see what you want to call bullshit on. I'd love to hear. But it's just great to be able to share this with y'all, and I hope it resonated. So I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!